Princess Anne allegedly slammed down a royal ultimatum, and whispers of a secret Dubai yacht past exploded into public view. This stopped being a simple royal disagreement and started looking like an all-out war over reputation, power, and survival. Because according to the claims surrounding this controversy, one side was fighting to protect the monarchy's image, while the other was fighting to protect her own. And when those two battles collided, the fallout became impossible to ignore.
This is not a drill. Meghan Markle is now in full preparation for her divorce from Prince Harry.
For years, tensions between the British royal family and the Sussex household have been the subject of endless headlines. But according to this explosive narrative, everything reached a dramatic breaking point when Meghan Markle allegedly took a step that sent shockwaves through royal circles and media outlets alike. The controversy reportedly began when Meghan filed a lawsuit in California and attempted to use her former royal status as part of her argument. Suddenly, what may have seemed like an ordinary legal dispute transformed into a global spectacle. Why? Because critics immediately began asking one dangerous question. Why was the royal connection being brought into a private financial battle? The allegations did not stop there. According to reports surrounding the case, details of an extremely luxurious lifestyle surfaced during the legal proceedings. Expensive travel, luxury yachts, private jets, elite experiences that carried eye-watering price tags. Whether those claims were accurate or exaggerated quickly became secondary to the public reaction. Social media erupted, comment sections exploded, and the royal family's name was dragged directly into the center of the storm. That is where Princess Anne allegedly entered the picture. Known for her reputation as one of the most disciplined and hard-working members of the monarchy, Anne reportedly wasted little time distancing the institution from the growing controversy. But observers immediately noticed something unusual. Her response was not being interpreted as merely administrative. To many royal watchers, it looked personal, very personal. And that is when the atmosphere changed completely. Because instead of fading away, the controversy allegedly triggered an emotional counterattack. Suddenly, accusations began flying across the Atlantic. Statements were interpreted, dissected, and amplified. Supporters on both sides rushed into battle. Every comment became evidence. Every silence became suspicious. Every denial created even more questions. Was this simply a disagreement over public image, or was something much deeper hiding beneath the surface? As public pressure intensified, the narrative grew even darker. Meghan allegedly pushed back against criticism by claiming she was being unfairly targeted and turned into a convenient scapegoat. According to the allegations circulating in the media frenzy, she suggested that powerful figures were attempting to shift attention away from their own secrets. That accusation alone was enough to ignite a fresh wave of speculation. Then came the claim that truly shocked observers. Princess Anne herself allegedly became the target of sensational accusations involving finances, influence, and hidden dealings. No evidence was publicly presented alongside these claims, but that hardly mattered in the court of public opinion. Headlines exploded, online debates intensified, and suddenly, one of the monarchy's most respected figures found herself pulled into a controversy she reportedly viewed as deeply defamatory. The response was swift. Princess Anne allegedly rejected every accusation and portrayed the claims as desperate attempts to damage both her reputation and the reputation of the institution she had spent decades serving. The language reportedly became colder, sharper, more direct. And then came the word that changed everything. Ultimatum. According to this narrative, Princess Anne allegedly issued a chilling warning. Stop making false accusations. Stop spreading defamatory claims, or face legal consequences. The message was interpreted by many as a declaration that the gloves were finally off. But just when it seemed the story could not become any more dramatic, another player stepped onto the battlefield. Piers Morgan. And if the royal conflict was already generating headlines, what happened next threatened to send it into an entirely different dimension. Because Morgan reportedly appeared with what he described as confidential materials and controversial evidence connected to Meghan Markle's past. The promise alone was enough to captivate audiences around the world. Viewers leaned in. Supporters and critics alike waited for the bombshell. What exactly had he uncovered? What was hidden inside the dossier he claimed to possess? And why did he seem so confident that these revelations could completely change public perception? What happened next, according to this dramatic narrative, was nothing short of a media earthquake. The moment Piers Morgan allegedly unveiled his so-called confidential dossier, the battle between Meghan Markle and her critics entered a completely different phase. This was no longer just about lawsuits, public statements, or royal disagreements. Suddenly, the conversation shifted toward hidden chapters, buried histories, and questions that many believed had already been settled years ago. The atmosphere became electric. Supporters rushed to defend Meghan. Critics claimed vindication, and the public found itself caught in the middle of yet another explosive royal controversy. According to the allegations presented in this narrative, Morgan claimed to possess materials connected to Meghan's life before her relationship with Prince Harry. Photographs, stories, timelines, and supposed insider information were all thrown into the spotlight. Whether those claims could be verified became almost irrelevant to the frenzy that followed. The mere suggestion that there were undisclosed chapters in Meghan's past was enough to dominate headlines around the world. Every image was analyzed, every statement was debated, every detail became fuel for an already raging fire. But Morgan was not finished. According to the story being told, he pushed further, alleging that Meghan's rise into royal life had always been driven by ambition rather than affection. Those claims immediately divided audiences. To supporters, the accusations sounded like another attempt to tear down a woman who had spent years defending herself against relentless scrutiny. To critics, however, the allegations appeared to confirm suspicions they had held for years. The divide grew deeper by the hour. Then came another layer of controversy. Claims surfaced suggesting that palace staff had allegedly raised concerns about financial matters during Meghan's time within royal circles. According to the narrative, confidential sources described disputes over spending, privileges, and oversight. Once again, no shortage of accusations filled the air, and once again, the public was left trying to separate rumor from reality. Yet, in the world of royal gossip, perception often moves faster than facts. By this point, the controversy had developed a life of its own. What made the situation even more dramatic was the timing. Princess Anne's alleged ultimatum was still dominating discussion. Questions about lawsuits were still making headlines. Public arguments were still unfolding. Then suddenly, these additional allegations arrived like gasoline poured onto an already raging fire. The conflict became bigger than any individual claim. It transformed into a struggle over credibility itself. Who was telling the truth? Who was manipulating the narrative? And who stood to gain the most from the chaos? As days passed, the pressure reportedly intensified. Commentators speculated about legal consequences. Royal experts debated what future relationship, if any, could remain between Meghan and the institution she had left behind. Every public appearance became a story. Every silence became a headline. Every rumor generated another wave of discussion. Meanwhile, Princess Anne's position within this narrative appeared stronger than ever. Supporters portrayed her as a defender of tradition, discipline, and institutional stability. They argued that her firm stance reflected a determination to protect the monarchy from ongoing controversy. Critics, however, questioned whether public confrontations would only deepen divisions and keep the conflict alive indefinitely. The arguments became endless. Yet perhaps the most fascinating part of the entire saga was how quickly the story evolved from a dispute involving one lawsuit into a much larger battle about image, influence, and legacy. Suddenly, the focus was not simply on what had happened. The focus became what would happen next. Would more documents emerge? Would additional accusations surface? Would legal action actually follow? Or would all sides eventually retreat from the battlefield? According to this narrative, Buckingham Palace allegedly moved toward a final and decisive response. Talk emerged of permanently severing remaining connections, removing privileges, and ensuring that future disputes could no longer affect the institution. The language surrounding these alleged discussions sounded cold, final, and unforgiving. To supporters of the monarchy, it looked like necessary damage control. To others, it appeared to symbolize the complete collapse of any hope for reconciliation. And that is where this extraordinary story leaves us. Not with certainty, not with closure, but with questions. Questions about loyalty, questions about ambition, questions about power. Because despite all the accusations, denials, dossiers, ultimatums, and public battles, one mystery still lingers over everything. If this conflict has already produced so many shocking twists, what other secrets, revelations, or surprises might still be waiting in the shadows? The royal drama may appear to have reached its final chapter, but the silence hanging over the story suggests that the real ending may not have been written yet.